Guys, Hex was added to the game exactly a year ago. It was the end of September, that last weekend in 2023, and from the second Hex showed up, we were like, that's Heath Ledger. This guy's clearly the Joker. It is plain as day. This is a certain property that is being used to create the whole image and aura before you. When's he getting his partner? When's he getting his partner bond skill? Clearly he needs his girlfriend, Harley Quinn. I said it, but like as a joke. I don't know if you were serious and you said it, let me know, but I was like kind of tongue in cheek. Oh, they're gonna rip off another dude. They did it. All right, there you go. Cat's out of the bag. She is here, guys, Twyla, and she is phenomenal. As you can see, here we are on the Fastidious test server where I do have access to everything in the game. However, usually when a new hero is added, there's a brief period when they're in the gallery and not yet on our roster. Look at that. She is not here. She is grayed out, but I can give you a full breakdown of the kit, theory craft, and really predict where she's going to shine. Spoiler alert, a lot of places. She's pretty darn lethal, and as we would have wanted, you know, Hex getting his girlfriend, she comes with her own bond skill, and she gives Hex a bond skill. So if you get these two heroes, you now have bond skills to unlock. You can see right over here. It's pretty fantastic stuff. I think she's a beautiful looking hero. We're going to break down all the similarities to Harley Quinn in a second, but I think this is just really something to be pumped about. Not just because she's Hex's partner or girlfriend or Harley Quinn, and because she looks cool and because she's going to be good, but I think there's a reasonable chance she is our next limited hero. You know, we know Kigiri is coming. He clearly is in the works as a limited hero we have coming, but he was supposed to be the September limited hero. Here comes Harley Quinn 2.0, Hex's girlfriend. Feels like a very Halloween-y hero, and a lot of things I think about her kit and the way she's going to arrive in the game and having this partner skill point to the fact that she might be a limited hero just like Lust or Honora, something like that. So I think it's pretty darn exciting. Let's get right into it. I have not watched her video yet. I have very high expectations. She does have a cinematic. Another reason to think maybe she's limited. Obviously, not every hero with a cinematic is limited. However, every limited hero does get a cinematic, except for Falsia. Okay, let's do it. Let's see. First reactions. Feels very Hexy already out here in the desert. Look at the design, man. Look at that. There was a pumpkin. Oh my, there's a Halloween pumpkin. Am I onto something? Is this our limited hero? I think it might be. And you can see very like DC, like that kind of, what is it called? Suicide Squad. There's pumpkins freaking everywhere, guys. Let's just really quick. How could this not be the Halloween hero? I think they're going to do a big Halloween limited. It's just a feeling I've got in my gut. There you go. She's got the heart and the diamond on her titties, for lack of a better word. That lets you know, clearly Harley Quinn. Yeah, look at these colorful things, very DC, and then freaking jack-o'-lanterns, pumpkins everywhere. I think it's pretty darn likely. We have so much to talk about. The kit is crazy. We'll kick it off with the Hex Bond, then we'll go into her bond. We'll break the whole thing down. Fantastic hero. You can tell I'm pumped. I think you should be too. Let's get into it.
Fastidious.
Fastidious.
And very quickly, guys, if you have yet to subscribe to the channel, please consider doing so. September was a slower month for me. I was traveling a lot. I was back home in New York. October, however, is going to be huge. I have so much stuff planned. I'm sure a lot of you guys will enjoy it. So hit that subscribe button. You won't miss a thing. I think things are really on the up and up in Watcher of Realms, and I can't wait to enjoy it with all of you. All right, so here is Harley, aka Twyla. So I'm not a huge comic book guy. I don't really know much about all of them. And even I looked at this and I'm like, that's like Margot Robbie, Harley Quinn, right? You've got the little thing on the cheek, you got the thing over the eye, you got half one color hair, half green hair. You have this kind of card, the 4 suits from a deck of playing card, you know, imagery. There's a club right here. Then we got a diamond, we've got a heart. That looks like a spade on her chest. I think we're all on the same page, right? She even has these like pinstripe leggings. It feels like insanely on the nose. I'm not even complaining. I think it's really cool. I think a lot of people are going to be very into this hero, not just because she's a good hero, but she looks pretty dang fantastic. However, I said to kick it off with Hex, so very quickly, I'm not going to break down Hex. I've done it a lot in the past. You can go check that out if you'd like. But let's talk about the bond skill and kind of, if I'm being honest, get the bad stuff out of the way, because the bond skill Hex gives to Twyla, tremendous. She's already insane. You're going to see that. Takes her to a whole nother level. What Hex gets from Twyla, what Twyla gives to him, this bond skill over here called Unbridled Fervor, it's pretty lame. Basically, it's buffing his worst passive, the most, in my opinion, irrelevant part of his kit. When triggered by receiving damage, resists incoming damage and gains invisibility for 3 seconds. Can only be triggered once every 50 seconds. With skill ups, it's every 40 seconds. But like, it's such a rare, weird piece of content where Hex needs to be invisible, needs to resist damage. And then as you're going to see right now from the Bond skill, now if you have Hex and then get Twyla, you're getting a shield when that's triggered. When Fate the Hermit, this passive is triggered, he will get a shield equal to 40% of attack for 10 seconds. So can be a fairly interesting shield. I don't know, maybe let's say your Hex has 15,000 attack, you'd be talking a 6,000 shield. You know, it could be higher with all like the Lord bonuses and post-deployment things, but you're talking about a shield between 5,000 and 10,000 hit points. Also, he doesn't really need it. There's no content where you're like, oh my god, my Hex died, I wish he had a shield for 10 seconds, but that's only really relevant for 7 seconds because the first 3 seconds there he was invisible and resist all incoming damage. So that's the bad stuff out of the way. Hex already a total monster if you can get that exclusive, the Suture of Capris. Even better if you get Awakenings, even crazier. He truly starts approaching that triple S tier quality of DPS, and he's got a lot of incredible funky stuff in his kit. Unfortunately, what Twyla is bringing him, at least what I'm reading right now, not that thrilling. I would be remiss not to mention the last thing that she does give him. It's not just the little level up shield to the Hermit. Also, if Twyla has already been deployed, if she's on the field and then you deploy Hex, that deployment will be 4 costs less, so it'll only be 8 cost. The only place truly I see this being relevant outside of like early game stuff like campaign, which even then I don't think we really care. The place it would be relevant obviously would be PvP, specifically arena. It does seem like Twyla might be a total beast for single target arena. We'll go over that in a second. Hex obviously is quite good there. If you have the Sutura, he's better. He's not super meta, but maybe this creates a meta because he's dirt cheap. We'll have to see. That is going to be that final line. If Twyla's on the field, reduces Hex cost by 4. That's going to be a key piece. However, the stuff before, you can tell I'm not too jazzed. All right, before people start complaining that we've been going for a handful of minutes and I haven't gotten into Twyla, let's dive straight in. Incredible hero. She is a fighter, and the worst thing about her, let's just knock that out of the way already. 1 tile of range, just right in front of her. You can see just the 1 tile, even at max level with full promos, stays the singular tile. If we click the ultimate, nothing changes during the ultimate. Her kit is phenomenal, but clearly with the 1 tile range and not even something like Valeria, when you ult, it expands to 2 tiles in front. She's like a boss queen, right? She's a total boss demon destroyer killer, and she's gonna live up to that. But as a fighter, when your range is that limited, it limits where you can truly shine. We're going to break down all the places you can shine, though, and it's a lot, but I thought we could get that out of the way. So, the talent. Each basic attack launched has a 25% chance to trigger Deranged Blade. Deranged Blade is a pretty awesome thing. The trigger chance of Deranged Blade is increased by 5% each time the ult is cast, up to 15%. So once you've used the ultimate 3 times, you can max it out with a 15% additional chance. That brings you to a 40% chance. And that's pretty crazy because it's every basic attack. As a typical fighter, you'll see, by the way, crazy base attack, 6376. It just keeps getting higher and higher on these heroes. The new baseline is like always 6,000 plus. But the reason I came in here was to show you very traditional attack interval, 2.6 seconds. You can get her going really fast though. All these basic attacks after the 3rd ultimate have a 40% chance to do Deranged Blade, key part of her kit, extremely potent. So what does it do? It deals 20% damage 12 times. So I don't know what that is, a duodecibel hitter? What would you call that? A 12xer hitter. 12 instances of damage. Instantly you're thinking Styx. And the other key thing, all those hits are going to inflict bleed. Obviously that can't stack, but you are guaranteed to inflict bleed with this. It's going to last 5 seconds. If you don't know what bleed does, it does damage over time equal to 1% of the target's max HP, and it is true damage. That is just universally potent and fantastic. And then also, it serves as an additional physical vulnerability in which the target's physical damage taken is increased by 10%. However, because it's not classified as physical vulnerability, it can stack with that. So it's very, very good. She's going to be one of the most reliable sources of it in the game. Maybe the most reliable, especially once you've gotten 3 ults off. So let's skip ahead for a second. Longer battles where she's going to do a lot more than 3 ults. I'm thinking Guild Boss 2. You know, she's going to maintain permanent 100% uptime on bleeds, and she's going to get so many hits out. It is pretty wacky. All right, the basic attack, if you're not doing Deranged Blades, super duper normal, 100% damage to one enemy, goes up to 120%. Now the ultimate, fantastic ultimate here. You'll see 700 skill costs that with skill ups goes down to 600. Plus you have an initial cost of 400, so you'll have a near insta ult, right? So you deploy her, she already has 400 initial costs. With skill ups, you only need 600. You're ready to roll. Also, once you max the skill ups, this decently long ultimate at 15 seconds, but pretty standard, goes up to 20, a lot more typical of a strong legendary fighter. And what does it actually do? When you activate Slice and Dice, fun name, manual ultimate, by the way, increases damage by 30%, with skill ups this goes up to 50%, and reduces attack interval by 20%. So let's just do a clean example here. If you build her, let's say, to an attack interval of 1.5 seconds, super reasonable, during the ultimate, that will be reduced by 20%, so it'll go down to 1.2 seconds. These are more opportunities for basic attacks, more opportunities to do a ton of deranged blades, which, by the way, as we're going to see right now, during the ultimate, get souped up even more. It grants deranged blade an extra 6 instances of damage. So instead of doing 20% damage 12 times, so 240% damage total, you're going to do it 18 times. So 360% total with a faster clip on the basic attacks because of the reduction in the attack interval. She's just going to be spamming out attacks, so many instances of damage. And this lasts at base for 15 seconds, but again, with skill ups goes up to 20 seconds. Additionally, when you first activate it, she will deal 2 instances of damage to one enemy immediately, 200% damage per hit. Very nice ult. Let's continue with the kit. Symphony of Ruin, her first passive. After not dealing damage for 2 seconds, this one's super significant. Increases rage regen auto by 10. This effect is removed upon dealing damage. So basically, this won't work in a boss where she's always having something to hit. Where you think of something like Void Rift or Campaign, or really AMR, any content where she's not constantly hitting something. AMR, she's not on the boss. If she's not constantly hitting something, once 2 seconds are up, her rage regen auto gets a huge boost. At base, it's 10, but with skill ups, it goes up to 20. What is rage regen auto? This is passive rage regeneration, full stop, no condition. So after those 2 seconds, she will increase that generation by 20 rage per second. If we look at the base rage regen auto, it's already pretty good at 13. This brings it up to, with the skill ups, 33. So after those 2 seconds, every single second until she hits someone again, she's generating 33 points of rage per second. With an ult cost of 600, once you skill her up, 33 rage per second is over 5% rage she gains per second. It is, you can't overstate how freaking strong that's going to be. Crazy, crazy stuff. I really like this passive. It makes her far more versatile and usable in content besides like you versus the boss. So outside of your Immortal Codex stuff and outside of your guild bosses. Let's continue the final passive here. Each time the ultimate is triggered, grants an extra 6% defense penetration during the next ultimate. This stacks up to 80% defense penetration, so if just fully ignoring defense. 80% seems like a weird number because it cannot be evenly divided by 6. However, you'll see with skill ups, this goes up to 10% per ult. So after your first ult, the next ult, you're ignoring 10%, so on and so on. Once you've done 8 ults, you're ignoring a full 80% of defense. It's like nearly true damage level at that point, right? It's 80% as potent as like full true damage, except this can still crit. It's like a full shred. It's not limited in any way. So it's going to be one of the most powerful things you could have. So if you think of a very long battle, Guild Boss 2, she's going to be a star there. Spoiler alert. You know, a very long battle like Guild Boss 2, by the end of that battle, when you have those really hard Aegis phases and you just need to put out tons and tons of damage in general, she is going to be shredding like a monster. Nightmare Faction, kind of a strange choice, I think, based on her design. However, for this kit, mamma mia, one of the spiciest meatballs we've seen in a long time. Finally, we've got her passive Bond Skill with Hex. If what she gives Hex is kind of like a D, pun intended, I guess, what he gives her, we're dogging an S. Unbelievable. So once you obtain Hex, you can unlock the following effect. Reduces Twyla's first deployment cost by 6. This is like the negligible part, but it's still cool. So again, you think Arena, she's got the typical 17 costs of someone like an Abomination or Valeria, Jira, so on. Very normal for like a non-big range legendary fighter. However, her first deployment, which in Arena is almost certainly her only deployment, if you're doing it right and you're not dying, 11 cost. So she's almost getting like this chaotic arbiter arena mastery treatment once you get Hex. The next thing though is when it gets incredible. Each time Hex draws a card, and he draws them a lot, Twyla permanently increases her crit damage by 5%, and after 12 cards you max this thing out at 60%, man. So 60% additional crit damage, full stop. I really love it. I think it works really well. I think people are definitely going to try it out. Once she comes, I'd love to try it out myself. You know, you could see, can you run like a Nightmare comp plus Hex, and then they're both really quick deployments, and then maybe you've got like a Valeria who's tanking at the beginning, you know, maybe you got Lugaru, maybe you got your Torador, or maybe there's some kind of hybrid where you can get Hex in there, get Twyla in there, and then you run Chaotic on the side. I think there could be something very meta for single target arena. Let's very, very quickly now go through the awakenings. These are blind reactions. I haven't checked yet. I do think in my heart of hearts, she is going to be the Halloween limited. I have a feeling, or at the very least, they're going to build an event around her. I don't think many people are going to get awakenings outside of the very lucky and the very lucky. But the awaken one, after triggering the ultimate 4 times, increases every single instance of deranged blades damage to 30%. This is just a 50% boost on the damage from deranged blade, right? The base is 20%, now it goes up to 30%, so it's like a 1.5x on that. That's really strong. So outside of the ultimate, when you've got the 12 instances, now that is 360. And then during the ultimate, when you've got the 18 instances, let's do some quick math, that's going to be 18 times 30%, it's going to be 540%. That's per basic attack. And keep in mind, a long battle, you've already done the ultimate 4 times, so on, so on. Guild Boss 2, the likes of that. Insane shred, because it's going to be coming with more and more and more defense penetration, maxing out at 80%. I really don't think I'm overhyping it. I think she's going to be phenomenal. A2 here, plus 300 attack, so she's going over 6,600 base attack. The A3 now, the ult duration is extended 5 seconds. That's significant, right? With skill ups, it's 20 seconds. Now it's up another 5 seconds. It's 25% longer. So 5 more seconds, 25% more time, dealing the 18 instances of damage during the deranged blade. And that time also you're gonna have the reduction in the attack interval. Pretty brilliant. A4, more penetration. So if you get this A4 and you've done the 8 ultimates, you're now only having to deal with 12% of your target's defense. You're shredding 88% of it. Nutty. And then the A5, upon taking fatal damage for the first time, becomes immune to death for 6 seconds and increases damage by 100%. Maybe there's a single target arena use for this. Maybe we'll discover other stuff. Maybe there's content to come. This does not seem as exciting as the A3 or the A1, but it's certainly something. Crazy, crazy, crazy kit. So I wanted to wrap this up. Let's throw that cinematic on again and get all Halloween-y. I swear, I didn't know about the pumpkins. Insane stuff. I think she's going to be, her definitive role will be as like a total boss beast. She's like going to be like the queen of shredding bosses, right? So obviously the Drake, Semrah, both of our guild bosses, incredible. You know, I touched on it briefly, but Styx, you know, especially when she's ulting, putting out 18 instances of damage. But even if you just get her really fast, and once you get the ults going a lot, and you can max that out with the 40% chance to trigger the talent, she's going to have so many super duper hitters. You know, you're not talking like a 5x hitter, 12 hitters, like potentially every other hit. Every 10 hits, 4 of those will actually be, you know, the deranged blades with the multi hits. Really potent stuff for something like Styx. You'd also see in stage 6 of Epilogue, I think she could be really, really nice, especially if you've got a Torador or something. By the way, quick aside, if you have Torador, that's more opportunities to do more basic attacks, which is more opportunities to trigger deranged blades, which are more times that you're doing huge amounts of damage. So that will work very, very well. During her ultimate, everything except for this final line here, those 2 instances of damage, everything else will still count as basic attacks. So she'll be even crazier with the Torador. She can rock an Infernal Roar. Really good stuff. You could see on stage 6 how in one of those Nightmare comps she'll be really good. I think an interesting place to try her will be Arbiter of Frost. She puts out bleed. That's a really nice dot. It's not the most popular thing we see. We see very heavy burn comps, you know, built around infernal comps led by Soul Cadence and Twin Fiend, and then you'll see a lot of Radiant Erosion stuff with the Arbiters, but she's going to have like permanent uptime on the bleeds, especially as you get deeper into that battle, so you could see that being really good. And then I did mention single target arena. She would come in at a cost of 11. Hex will come in at a cost of 8. That is if you have the 2 of them. It's pretty interesting. And then obviously just a fighter this strong, I could see her absolutely deleting the boss in AMR. In general, she'll just be great, but she might be like a new bursty top option for that, since it is a near instant ult over here. You only need 200 ult costs. Amazing stuff, guys. I'm thrilled about this hero. I do hope she's the limited, so everyone gets a chance. Let me know if you guys think my prediction is correct. What's your take on this hero? And also, what's your take on the design? You think it's a little too on the nose, or they did it right? I think I like it. I don't know, but I don't know much about the comic book lore. I think the fact that I instantly recognized it might be a red flag that they did it a little too obviously, but it is what it is. Cool hero, cool stuff. I think this is gonna be a big month in October. I'm excited for the game. I hope you guys are too. If you like my stuff, please like it, subscribe to the channel, share with your mother, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.
Fastidious.